Hi there, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for joining me for Going Deeper, and we're going to go deeper into something that's really difficult to deal with. If you have one of these in your life, somebody with narcissistic personality disorder. Now, I can't recommend anything more than this understanding and loving a person with narcissistic personality disorder. A little book we put together. You can get it at newlife.com. It's part of the Arterburn Wellness series. I would love for you to have it, but it's really going to help you here. Well, let's look at what we're dealing with first of all, to be sure we're dealing with a narcissist. Now, it comes from this Greek myth about Narcissus, who sees his reflection in the pool and just becomes so fascinated with it that he's quite attractive and loves himself and can't get over it. Well, first of all, for you to fall in love with yourself, you must be one sick puppy, right? If it's an image in the pool that gets you all excited about life. And that is really the case for a narcissist. It's, there's the thing, and then there's the thing below the thing. And so a narcissist always talks about themselves. It's always about them. They have very little regard for anything that you're thinking or feeling. They don't ask about you. If you ask a question, they'll turn it into something absolutely about them with no awareness of you. You could say, I want to go to Alaska, and they will turn their visit to the Sahara Desert into something that connects to your trip to Alaska. It's just crazy how it works. And they're not very realistic. They have big dreams and plans, and everything's going to be spectacular. And many times they're in a position where a lot of stuff has come true for them. And sometimes just in life, whether a person's a narcissist or not, they're in the right place at the right time with the right idea. Boom, it's just so successful. And then they think, and that was just maybe you could call it coincidence, let's say. But then they think they know everything about everything, and they have an opinion about everything. But in reality, they were very fortunate. But they have big plans, or they've experienced something big. They think they're going to do it again. They believe that they're superior. So no wonder if you're in a marriage with this person, marriage is fraught with problems anyway, much less to be married to somebody that thinks they know everything when they don't know anything about how they come across as another person. They want constant praise. They're very insecure, they're fragile, and they criticize themselves. And they have a strong sense of entitlement, of course. And they want special favors, and special requests need to be fulfilled for them. We're just talking about some general symptoms and signs that, yes, I am with a narcissist. So if you're experiencing these things, you probably are. Now, here's the thing. The reason you're in the relationship with them isn't just because you're downright sick, okay? So to give yourself a break. Fact is, narcissists are so charismatic, and many times they have done some really great things, and they know how to woo you in with things, and they just have a sixth sense. I'll tell you, I worked with a narcissist one time, and you might say, well, that was two narcissists in one room. Okay, I have some narcissistic tendencies, but I'm not at the border, the personality disorder level. Anyway, so all the people that I work around with have PhDs. I don't have a PhD. So what did he call me whenever we were together? He called me Dr. Arterburn. Because he thought, I'd kind of like to be called what everybody else gets called. Well, it felt good when he did that. He was like, he respected me and honored me in that way. He knew that little button to push. And so in 1,000 different ways, this charismatic person knows kind of how to manipulate and find a weakness or a way to build you up that would feel really good. So don't blame yourself for getting involved. It's really hard to avoid the powers of the narcissist. And that's why you need girlfriends or boyfriends, because narcissists can be women. You need people around you that might say, hey, I noticed while we were at dinner, There was not one question asked of anybody else. There was no focus. It was all about this other person. Okay, so another thing, they are really envious of other people. You think no matter how much they have, it's just not enough. And they're always kind of putting other people down or talking about what other people have. It's very weird how they do that. And they just, they really do need to be the one at the top, and they don't like to be number two on the chart or in person either. And so in this trying to be the center of attention all the time and dominate things all the time, you could have the feeling of that you don't count. Well, that's just because you don't. I mean, they'd like for you to count, and they think that just being with them should be enough for you. It's such a privilege. Can you imagine that? Yeah, I know you can if you live with a narcissist. Okay, they lack empathy. They have no idea what other people are feeling or sensing. They're just talking. And they think that if they're saying it, well, you probably are quite fascinated by it, even though it's just same old stuff, same old stories. Okay, so then we have to look at, there's another kind of narcissism. One, you could say, is this grandiose person. And then there's another one that's you could say is a covert narcissist. And it's almost like maybe they have a PhD in psychology, but they're a narcissist. So they know that if they say all this stuff or they just talk about themselves all the time, people are going to be on to them. So they keep it on the down low. There's a really famous author that I've worked with, and one of the publishers was just talking about, everybody thinks this person is so humble. But man, they're more demanding than any other people we work with, because they just keep it under wraps. And there's another thing where the person maybe they're like a narcissist, but more passive aggressive in the way they do things. It's all about them, but they're a little more conniving. So it's not about they just don't want you to know they're a narcissist, but these folks have found another way to accomplish things for themselves. And then you'll see this anger toward other people. And almost you'll see like going after people like a kid would or a teenager. And it's really crazy how you go, that is a grown woman doing it? Is a grown man really saying those things? And it's all there for a reason. Now here's one thing that I know. Life makes sense. Okay? So you don't just have this thing that somebody is a narcissist because one day they woke up and said, hey, I think I'm going to look like an idiot to the world by making everything about me. That isn't the way it happens. It happens because down deep inside of this person that seems like they don't need anything or anybody, there's a very, very hurt and troubled human being. I mean, they have a wound bigger than anything you could ever imagine. And a lot of the source of the wound sometimes is part of imagination. Let me say why I say that. Because let's say they were wounded on a scale of 1 to 10. They view it as like a 7. Well, actually, they don't view it at all. They're not dealing with it. And everything that they're doing is a compensation for the emptiness that they feel inside, the hurt that's never been resolved. The trauma is guiding their life. It's leading. The pain there is leading. And so if you really came to see them for what they are, you would see them as very, very hurting, troubled people. It is a personality disorder. It's not just they're a little egotistical, or they're a little selfish, or a little self-centered. It is all about them because this wound is so, so deep. So what you're seeing is a survival strategy that has continued to play out, and nobody has stopped it. Parents sometimes could be the accomplice. Let me give you an amazing thing, or kind of a simple way of looking at it. Over here, let's just say you got a guy, he's brilliant, smart. The dad over here, the dad thinks, man, if I don't really show some hard tactics here, if I don't hold him accountable to everything, if I don't make him strive, give it all he's got, then he'll never amount to anything. And so rather than be praised by the dad, affirmed by the dad, and given that confidence that can come from a dad, the dad makes him feel second class, like he's really got to go out there and prove himself to dad to get any of that attention or quote unquote love that he wants from dad. Now over here on the other side is the accomplice, the mother who has allowed this sick raising of the son by the father. So what's she doing? Rather than tell the father, you're sick, you got to get some help, this is not the way we're going to raise this child, what she does is praises this kid. He can do no wrong, gives him all the attention in the world, everything he wants is his. So he's got this thing inside, it's a wound. And so he's working really hard to overcome that wound. And then he's learned from the mother that everything really is about him, or it should be, for all the world to be okay. And so right in the midst of all that, wow, it's so tough on him because he has nothing in here except for maybe fear or some shame or inferiority, and then over here is all this stuff. And so, man, it's tough, and it's hard to be that way. So you just go do the best you can. What does that mean? You go out and try to conquer the world, and it's all about you, and you bring people around you that, just like mommy, that want it to be all about you. And so that's just kind of a simple way of looking at how something like this could come out of two parents that look so absolutely normal. They're not normal. It's evil what the dad did in that situation. But this wound could be a lot of things: physical abuse, sexual abuse, all sorts of things to create that wound. And so one of the things that could be helpful is to sit down whenever you could and just ask the person, talk about your childhood. When did you learn that you could do things, or how did that go with your dad? Things like that might help this person get in touch with the unresolved feelings of guilt, shame, remorse, alienation, all of that stuff that's caused all of this. I think it's your best hope. Well, that is if they won't get help, which you're really hoping that they would. Now, I want to tell you, there are narcissists that are in total manipulation mode all the time, and they never let their anger jump out and get ahead of them. They stay ahead of the anger. But there are others that can be really quite abusive, name-calling, yelling, threatening. You really have to stand up for yourself when those kinds of things happen. If you're not going to do that, then they're just going to get worse and worse, and they're going to take greater advantage of you. So you don't feel like you have any say in the relationship. You feel weak, powerless. How am I going to have the courage to pick up the phone? Okay, well, if you called us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, we would help you find a therapist that could kind of work with you on a day-to-day basis to chart this course going forward. The next time we get together, I'm going to help you with this chart. What we've done here is identify what we've got, maybe understand it a little bit, but next time I want to talk to you about charting the course forward of what is the best that you can do. Okay? And then in the third session, I'm going to talk to you about how to deal with things if this narcissist simply will not change. Thanks for joining me. If you need some help, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Don't forget our little book here, Understanding and Loving a Person with Narcissistic Personality Disorder. Patricia Kuhlman is a writer there. I think you'll like it. I'll see you next time.